depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
It's the Sci-Fi Podcast.
Hello and welcome to this week's podcast. And we're going to be talking about something I don't really know much about, and I have serious questions on the subject from my co-host, the master of the macabre, the master of the horror, the master of podcasts, and the master of drinking tea. I introduced you, Michael Ball.
I think you're going to say the master. Halloween. I think I said the master of Pornhub then, and we were talking about that just before.
No, this is a family show. This is a family show.
Exactly. Yes, we're talking about Halloween, the original Halloween from 1976. This is our sort of Halloween show, and it's a one which is it science fiction? Not really. It's more horror, but as I was saying to Martin before we hit record, he does have almost superhuman abilities in regard to the fact that when he killed off his character, he doesn't die. But before we talk about Mike Myers and Halloween, the original Halloween, tell me about yourself, Martin. What have you been up to this week? Anything good?
Yeah, I went out yesterday. I was out yesterday all day. I had a good day. Met a friend. I'm packing now to go to a convention tomorrow, which I'm quite excited about. Right. And that's it, really. Yes. So I'll be back Sunday, and unfortunately, I've got to sit and watch Doctor Who.
You're going to do a review afterwards, aren't you, on your channel?
Yes, I am. I will be putting an advert up tomorrow. Yeah. Okay,
that'd be cool. So, I mean, we should actually mention this. I mean, I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, people are really not sure how this next season of Doctor Who is going to go. We know it's going to be like Trial of a Time Lord from the classic, where it's all linked together in 6 parts as a sort of long extended serial or sort of story called Flux. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of classic villains coming back, but that doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily good. But yeah, bring it on. Let's just see how it goes. So so you're going to a sci-fi convention. Any more information about where it is, or who's coming to this thing, or what?
It's on the southeast coast, and it's in Eastbourne. Actually, it's there.
Oh, so. Eastbourne. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a small one. It's in Winter Gardens. It sounds quite interesting outside. I've been before.
You've been before.
And yeah, there's nobody really famous there. They've got a Black Widow there from the movies.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
One of the actresses that played the Black Widow, and they've got a martial arts fellow. I don't know what he does, but he's there. So.
Now, for me this week, I saw the new Dune.
Yes, I've not
seen it yet. You're not seen it yet.
No,
well,
my friend texted me early hours of the morning, said he just watched it, and he said it was superb. So
yeah, I've enjoyed it. I mean, it'd be interesting to get your review of it when you've seen it. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid film. It was definitely a lot easier to digest than the original Dune. As we know, I'm not a big fan of the original one because it just seemed too out there. But apparently this part 1, as it's called, has already been greenlit for part 2 to be made.
Yes, it has, yeah.
Which is quite a surprise because it's only been out for about a week or something. So that's positive. So at least we should get a full resolution to the original story. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I'm glad I've seen it. And I still think it's far easier to watch than the original Dune. I am going to try and watch the original Dune at some point soon again. If I've not seen it for many years, but I did think that when I saw it, it was utter shite.
No, don't bother with that. That film's fucking stupid and insane.
It's terrible, isn't it? I mean, it's not just me,
I think it's totally bonkers. I mean, but if you want to watch Dune to the books, watch the 2 miniseries.
Yeah, which you mentioned. I know. I will check that out as well. Yeah. I did.
Oh yeah.
See that.
I bought a film what you recommended actually the other day.
Oh, okay. Which one?
bought the Hidden Special Edition.
Oh, do you enjoy it? Have you seen it yet?
I found it out in CX and it were there. So I thought, oh, that's it. And then you came into my head and said, buy it.
Yeah. I've got a copy of it.
I thought
It's a
one of
good,
your,
fun
like,
film.
favourite movies. So I got it on Blu-ray, so I'm gonna watch it when I get back.
Well, again, in a few weeks' time, that's one I've already put right near the top of the list to review with you. So once you've seen it and refreshed your memory,
Yep.
I'd love to do a show on that. That's a great film.
Most
That's really
definitely,
worth. It's because I've seen a lot of. I've been delving in recent years, at least a couple of years with COVID, into old films which I might have missed the first time round.
Yeah, same.
And it's one of those films that really stood out when I watched it. It was just fun. It was just a good, fun movie.
Well, that is one of them films you're not going to pick up on mainstream, really. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't know how I came
away,
across it.
and I thought, I'm going to get that. It's on Blu-ray, so I thought
Yeah.
I'll give it a go. Yeah.
It's got. I like, and also again going back to Dune. One of the characters and the actors in that film is also in the original Dune as well. So it's sort of a link there. But yeah,
Yes,
and he was also in.
yes.
He was in Twin Peaks as well. So yeah, pretty good. What else do I got to report? Nothing major. It's Halloween. This is our Halloween show, so that's just pretty cool. We've nearly been doing the podcast for 2 years now, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
I'm still working on this graphic where it's going to be all the thumbnails from over the last 2 years, which will be done in the early next year. Actually, that's going to look cool. I'm going to send you a copy of that. Yeah, so it's all going on, and it's like I said, it's I'm not a big fan of winter and it getting dark early in the evenings and stuff like that, but there's not much you can do about that. So there we go. Right, are we ready to talk about a film which I think I know a lot more than you do, but you very kindly agreed to actually go with me, and then we can discuss it. Right, so let's hit the jingle and see what we think of it. Here we go.
It's the Solar Sci-Fi Focus of the Week.
All right, so this is a film from 1978. It's a very famous film. I just rewatched it actually just the other day to refresh my memory. And it's funny actually seeing this again after seeing Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which we reviewed last year and Martin finally got into. And of course, this is John Carpenter's Halloween original from 1978 with Jamie Lee Curtis. Donald Pleasance is in it as the guy from the Institute trying to track him down. And we have this character. So let me lead off with this one because I think I know this one more than you do, Martin. It is a good film. Is it science fiction? It's more horror. But the thing is, which makes it slightly more than just a horror, is that Mike Myers is this character who, he's a kid, he's 12, and he kills somebody at the beginning of the film. I can't remember who he kills. And he ends up in a mental asylum. If that's the correct term, no, that's not the incorrect. What's the correct term? He's in an institution.
He ends up in hospital.
Yeah, he ends up in hospital. Sorry, people. I did steer back into the right direction.
He ends up in a 5-star hotel, and they look after him.
With everyone wears white coats, basically. So basically, he escapes and he goes back to the town where his mum died. For some reason he goes after Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and it's funny actually because I watched this film, and the first half of the film, not much happens. The first half is him. You see him like on the street corner, and you see him like by his car or by a lamppost or something, and then you'll look again. He's gone, and Jamie Lee Curtis's character starts to sort of realise that he's old and everything, and of course. Also, the first half of the film is about teenagers who are trying to go out for a shag. It is a lot about teenagers.
About all them sort of movies were like that, weren't they?
Yeah. So it's half
trying
of it
to get
is
the ladies up to the
bedrooms while the mums are out to some party or something, and it's
Friday 13th then scenario.
Yeah. But I mean, Friday the 13th is a very similar, and so it's a bit like.
Imagine how shagging and horror come together.
Yeah. Well, that's the crux of it. It's basically most of it is teenagers. Parents have gone out for the night and they're trying to shag. And of course, Jamie Lee Curtis is in her situation. She's looking after these kids, and Mike Myers is focusing on her. And basically, she's aware of it. She's trying to escape, and then she's trying to get out of the house, and the doors are locked. Now, it's funny. I can see why you're not the biggest fan, Martin, because it is a bit limited. It's not exactly deep. It's a good film for. I don't know whether it's not aged very well. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is about it, but I watched it the other day and I was a bit underwhelmed. I've not seen it for a few years. Um, it's got a good music. John Carpenter's music is always good, and of course he's a great director. And for the material that he gave us, I think he did good. But it was, I mean, first of all, it's opened, left open, and then it begins. Part two starts straight after the last scenes of part one. Um, it's all right. I mean, it's strange because Mike Myers. Now, I haven't seen the recent ones, but from what I understand, they are still linked because there's a Halloween 2018, whereas this one's set in 1978, so it's 40 years afterwards. So I think there's some link based on the year that the 2018 one is set. But Mike Myers is just this guy, like he sounds a bit asthmatic and he's in the mask walking around killing people and they're trying to escape. And I didn't really realize until I started talking to you that I'm not the biggest horror fan. And I think it's a bit limiting as to what it can do. And I mean, there's so many of these Halloween films and there's so many Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Hellraiser. And yeah, I
have seen this film. I have seen it.
When did you last see it? Let's ask your perspective. When did you last see Halloween?
I saw it on VHS when I was a teenager at first one.
So have you seen many of the? I mean, obviously you've seen Halloween 3.
I've seen that one. I saw that one on VHS, and then after that was only when I saw it series. And then years later, they did Halloween H20 or H2.
Yeah, there was one in between sometime.
Yeah, my family I was round at my family's, and we used to have big dinner, and we watched videos after.
Right.
That was one of the films. It just come out. There were a big thing made about it. And it must have been a long time, when that come out. And this 15, quite a while ago. And that was the last one I saw until, I saw number 3, which you recommended.
But that's a whole different story.
But that's my history of Halloween. Now, I know Michael, is it Michael Myers?
Yeah, Michael Myers, yeah.
I know who he is, but I have numerous questions because things are just not adding up for me.
Well, I've got Wikipedia, so do you want to fire some questions my end and see if I can answer them for you?
Are you sure?
Yeah, go for it.
Some of the questions could be ridiculous.
That's fine, I don't mind. There's no problem.
All right.
Go for
it. All right. Does he ever take his mask off?
We see one scene at the end of part 1 where his mask does come off and his eye looks a bit sort of scarred or something. So he's got some scarring. But it's a very minimal scene. I mean, it's basically him with the William Shatner mask, which I only learnt about a month ago that it's William Shatner's bloody mask. And most of the time he's walking around, heavy breathing, sounding a bit like Darth Vader, sounding a bit asthmatic actually, like an asthmatic Darth Vader. And I don't know why he's. I mean, let's look at the wiki. Let's be clever here, right?
Right. I mean, right. So first film was in the 70s, right?
1978.
Right?
Yes, that's right.
Right, and I didn't see it till sometime in 80s, right? And like this dude must be like 70.
Well,
that's
about
well, no,
yeah,
come on. I mean,
but he's like superhuman. I mean, the thing is,
but how's he super fucking human?
I don't know if it's explained, but all I know is that in this film, Donald Pleasance shoots him in the chest 6 times. He falls out of a house straight onto the garden at the bottom, and then he's there looking like he's dead. And then Donald Pleasance walks to the window. He looks out, and then when he sees to see an empty patch of grass, he goes doom.
So, like when they blow him up at the end of each film, obviously something happens. So, at the end of each movie, and they take his parts at morgue. What does he do? Resurrect himself or something?
Well, I don't know whether they get his parts. I think he looks like he's dead, and then the scene will go to the reaction to the person, and they'll go back to the scene where he's died, and then he's just not there. He's gone. He's got up and moved away.
Well, where does he go for 20 years?
Well, I don't know. I see
what's he done for 20 years?
Let's have a look at the Wikipedia. Let's see, because this might answer some questions. So, Halloween is a 1978 American independent slasher film directed and scored by John Carpenter.
Right.
Co-written and produced by Deborah Hill and starring Donald Pleasance and Jamie Lee Curtis in her film debut. The plot tells about a mental patient, Michael Myers, that's what it said, that wasn't me saying that, who was committed to a sanitarium for murdering his babysitting teenage sister on Halloween night, when he was 6 years old. So he was quite young. 15 years later, he escapes and returns to his hometown, where he stalks a female babysitter and her friends while under the pursuit of his psychiatrist. And it says film took place in Southern California in May 1978 before premiering in October, where it grossed 70 million, becoming one of the most profitable independent films of all time. Primarily praised for Carpenter's direction and score, which I can't fault because John Carpenter's brilliant. Many critics credit the film as the first long line of slasher films inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
Yeah, so was he before Friday the 13th?
Yeah, I think so. I think Friday the 13th was early 80s. And it says Halloween spawned a film franchise comprising 11 films, which helped construct an extensive backstory for its antagonist, Michael Myers, sometimes narratively diverging entirely from previous installments. A direct sequel to the film was released in 1981, so one I just watched. I'm watching now. A remake. Okay, so a remake was released in 2007, which was followed by a sequel in 2009, and then an 11th installment, which serves as a direct sequel to the original film that retcons all previous sequels, was released in 2018. Was followed by 2 direct sequels, Halloween Kills in 2021, and another one next year, Halloween Ends in 2022. Additionally, a novelization, a video game, and comic book series have been based on the film. So if we want to watch a direct sequel, I've got to watch the one in 2018. Okay. The film was selected preservation. So I will check out the 2018 version because I'm curious now as to how it goes. So that's the basic information. Obviously, he's got the plot.
Yeah, but where does he go? So does he only come back on Halloween then?
Well, the first 2 are set on Halloween night. I have no idea about the sequels. Obviously, the third.
So what does he do for this? Has he got a job or something? And
I think he works. Does he work in Walmart or something? Does he stack shelves? I don't.
What you mean? He's just normal.
Maybe he's a
happy
postman.
guy, Mike through the.
He could be. He could.
So, yeah.
Michael, yeah, and he might just he might work at Asda if he came over here or something, or he could work for the post office. He could be the mailman, so he can know where's to slash people next Halloween. I have no idea. I mean,
I've seen people dressed up as them at conventions and stuff, but it's like, well, really, I mean, to be honest, I've seen about 11 fucking movies.
I didn't know it's as many as that.
Fucking hell, are you fucking kidding me?
That's what it says on there.
In every movie, he comes back on Halloween, right, one night a year to slaughter everybody in this town.
Yeah.
Right, there's no doubt he's coming back in the same town, isn't he?
Oh, I think so. But
well, why don't they just move? You know what I mean? You'll move.
Yeah, but I don't. Maybe he targets different people in each film.
Yeah, but what's the story? I remember Donald Pleasance going on about him in first movie vaguely, and then I saw HS-20 with Jamie Lee Curtis. They brought her.
So what happened in the HS-20 one? Because I didn't see that one.
Well, I don't think she'd done it for a couple of years, and then she come back, and it was a right big thing. I think that was a bit of a hit, and it was all right. It was just him. He turned up years later on Halloween doing what he does.
Yeah,
but is there any explanation to any of this?
I don't know. I mean,
look. I mean, the films that came out, it were like fucking. I were reading up on Pinhead the other day because I've seen a few Hellraiser movies.
Yeah, I've seen Hellraiser movies.
And there's been over 9 of them or something, or 10.
I didn't know there's 11. I didn't know there's 11 Halloween films. That's a lot.
Yeah, well, I didn't fucking know that till now. I mean, it were like Hellraiser got fucking stupid. I saw one night when I connect all this, like Hellraiser, Michael Myers, and the other idiot, Crystal Lake, Jason Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees from
these films, they made one or two. Like, say, the first one's probably a one-off. Is probably exemplary, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then we get 10 movies on, like the other movies. And like the one I came in Saturday night, pissed years ago. I don't drink now, but I was
as you do. Yeah.
And I put the BBC on, and I watched Hellraiser Summer. I don't know what number it was. It was all set on a fucking space station.
That's the one I've got. There's one set in space in the future.
I saw Friday the 13th, where that was setting out of space.
They always go to space eventually. They always
I'm thinking, well, how the fucking hell do you get up from Crystal Bloody Lake to a spaceship?
Well, we could have
Michael Myers.
I mean, Michael Myers could be a Starfleet officer in the next Star Trek or something at some point. He could be.
Oh God, yeah. I wish it. What on Discovery? They find him in an ice cube.
I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them.
No, yeah, no. But what I'm saying is, I think like the concepts of the first movie, possibly a second one, possibly, but fuck it, to milk 10 movies of this guy. I mean, I ain't seen the other.
Yeah, I mean,
movies,
to be honest,
I can't say what the fucking stories are. But if it's what I think it is, I know there's a new one now, and everybody's been about
there's a new one, and I am going to check out the 2018 one. I mean, it looks like
there was one in 2018.
The 2018 is a direct sequel to the first one.
Well, what?
I don't know how though. Because I don't know. I don't know how it works out. It's
but Michael Myers, I mean, he's been shot, disemboweled, blown up. He hasn't ended up on a spaceship yet, but I mean...
Yeah, he could do, 2022, you know. I mean, who knows? He could be one of those ones that goes on one of those rocket rides and that, that Facebook guy's one.
What, I mean, the time to a rocket and get rid of him?
I
mean, how does he... I mean, what's his origins? I mean, all right, he killed the babysitter, so, like...
All I know,
he's evil...
Yeah, he's basically... Donald Pleasant says that basically he's like the embodiment of evil because of his mental state. And basically he doesn't have any...
is he supernatural, then?
Well, it seems to be because he never dies.
Well, maybe he gets his powers on Halloween then or something.
No, I don't think it's something like that. No? I don't think he physically, because we've seen so much science fiction. Normally, the thing is, you see, the problem with this film is, and this is why it's slightly off for our podcast, but we decided to do it anyway. It's kind of like, if there's something which happens with the character, normally in science fiction, there's some explanation as to how, even in Marvel, I mean, obviously you're a big Marvel fan, and I've seen the Marvel, and even those films, a character, even if they're sort of superhuman, or they have abilities which are above the norm, which Mike Myers seems to have, then at least they will try to explain what happened to that character to actually defy the normal limitations of a human being. But this Mike Myers character, he just seems to be an evil entity who seems to be human but just doesn't ever bloody die. That's the problem with the film.
Yeah, but where does he go all year till Halloween? I mean,
well, like I said, the second film is literally set like 10 minutes after the first one. And then Halloween 3, Halloween 2, because I just watched the beginning of it. It's literally at the end of Halloween 1, he falls down off the house, he hits the ground, and then Donald Pleasance looks out and he's disappeared. The second one literally starts off just after he's disappeared and Donald Pleasance is still chasing him. So the first two are really properly linked. Jamie Lee Curtis is in the hospital after the first film, where she's okay, but she's traumatized. So I know that. I have no idea about Halloween 4 or 5 or whatever it is, how they link up. But I do know that Halloween 2018 is, they say, quote, a direct sequel to the first. I don't bloody know. You know. I've got a sodding clue.
You know, well, like I used to go to a youth club when I was at school. They used to have a youth club Friday night, and they had a video recorder, and that's where I saw Friday the 13th for the first time.
Right.
I remember watching.
Now, do you actually? I mean, let's quickly ask you about that. Did you see, like, obviously, Halloween, and then there's Friday the 13th. And then
well, I say them two. Them two are like similar characters. Them two.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have a preference, or do you think they're just all like the same sort of thing, just different?
Well,
names?
if I had my word, fucking been a lot of it. But I mean, look, I think the concept of the first. I think, like you said, if it were like the second one were linked, I think that was enough.
Yeah.
But, I mean, 9 movies. I mean, fucking 9 movies on after that.
That's ridiculous. That's
and
crazy.
then they brought it back this year. I mean, is it the same actor that plays them all the time?
I doubt it, because you don't really. I mean, the actor's seen so briefly in Halloween 1 that he's just basically the dude behind the mask. So I think it could be anybody. It could be anybody. I don't think it's going to be like Din Djarin on The Mandalorian, where you just don't really see his face much. But it's not like that. I think it's just they just chuck on any actor.
Well, it really. I mean, it's like, you know, it went Friday the 13th thing. It got fucking stupid, didn't it?
I don't even remember those. I mean, he had a mask on as well, didn't he?
Have you not seen Freddy versus Jason?
No. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
What was
Saw
that
it,
like?
yeah.
Was it any good, or was it like another kind of like?
It was just. Well, and they made it. Well, I think they were trying to get a franchise off years ago, where, like like the Universal monsters versus each other.
Right.
Like Frankenstein versus
Yeah,
Dracula,
all those sort of
all
those
that.
yeah, werewolves and stuff
But
like that.
they got Freddy versus Jason, and Freddy killing everybody at I think it's at Crystal Lake, but he's manipulating Jason in his mind.
Right.
Because Jason's chained up at the bottom of the lake or something, and he gets out, and Freddy's got to come, and they have a big punch up, and I think Jason wins.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's it. And then you're not going to believe, I'm not making this up, the planned sequel, we're going to be Freddy versus Chucky.
What?
It's what I would read in SFX, mate. You remember that fucking stupid fucking doll that ran around killing everybody?
Yeah.
Chucky.
Chucky.
Can you imagine that boating that thing around the house? I mean, I don't mind the Chucky movies, to be honest.
I've seen the first Chucky movie, and I thought it was all right.
I saw the first, and I saw the one where he had a girlfriend.
Yeah, I didn't.
They're only
that
ones
one.
I've seen of that.
Yeah.
And after that, I couldn't be bothered. But Halloween, it's like, I mean, there must be an explanation for that.
Well, there might be. There might be.
Guy? I'm not sitting through 9 movies of that. I'll say I've got 9. So I've seen what? I've seen Halloween 3, which has got fuck all to do with any of it.
And I think it's better.
I'm going to say it. And this is where you score point. You've converted me. Halloween 3 is the best movie in that franchise.
But it's a proper story. It's a clever, imaginative story.
It's a highly intelligent fucking
It's about a guy who's a crazy Irish guy who wants to sort of have sort of revenge on Kiss and these crazy masks. And I thought it was a very,
using ancient druidic stones to achieve this power.
And why hasn't that been remade? I mean, that to me is a much stronger
you could have had a sequel to it. I could get having a sequel to that.
Never happened. Never. They actually did badly. It went back to 4.
I'm going to admit it. I apologise to you. Halloween 3 has now become a respectable, decent movie.
I think it's a decent horror film. I think it really is.
And we'll probably both get shot down for this by Halloween fanatics. But we've
got the freedom of choice, haven't we? Obviously, we agree on this.
No, that's true. But 11 movies, man, and some guy turning up on Halloween, killing people, and he must be 80 now. He must be like 75. What they're going to do? Bring him back in a fucking wheelchair or a Zimmer frame going down road? I like that. Look, the good aspects of this film, the music.
Music is fantastic.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna say the first and the second movies are probably the best. Then.
Well, they're both John Carpenter. He did both. Yeah.
So John Carpenter surely did not sit on 11 of these.
I think he didn't want to do the second one. I think
he did H20.
Oh, did he do that? I didn't know he did that as well.
So, yeah,
I should try it out.
I think that's why it was a big thing.
But you said you've seen that one. You said you've seen that one. So how did that tally? How did that link with the first?
Well, it's set years later because it was a big thing. I don't know what number in the series it was. It came back. I think, like you said. It might have been, no, it won't have been 2. No, it must have been late 90s. I saw it around at my mum's. But she'd come back. They must have done a few movies, and Jamie Lee Curtis had come back. Right. And that's why it was a big thing.
But she's come back again, though, isn't she, with the 2018 one? So she's come back.
And she's come back in last one, hasn't she, as well?
I think so. But they said that these new ones are directly linked to the 78 version, but the one that you mentioned wasn't. I don't know. I can't keep up with it.
I'm gonna have to. I've got a lot of reading to do tonight on Wikipedia. I will read up on it. So
I think it's quite an interesting one because. What
do you do for? What do you do for 11? Like take number 3 out and take 1 and 2. Right. Take the first 3 out. I'd say Halloween 3 is its own thing.
Yeah, it's just got a similar name.
That's established.
Yeah.
1 and 2 are connected. So how many movies have we got left? 8 movies. I mean, what happens in them 8? Him coming back
no
all
idea.
Time, killing people.
No idea.
I mean, would you have sat in the cinema 8 times to watch that? Because I wouldn't.
No. I mean, to be honest with you, I personally think that the whole story has a limited duration. I mean,
that conversation.
I think quite frankly,
you're limited eventually.
Yeah, I mean, Halloween probably 1 and 2, and then Halloween 3 season of the Witch probably should have been it. But then Halloween 4, they brought Mike Myers back because Halloween 3 wasn't successful. That's what because apparently it wasn't successful Halloween 3, so they wanted to bring back Mike Myers to make more money. That's why they brought him back for number 4.
Yeah, but I mean, so the other ones, I can't say.
I don't know after that. I have no idea.
Going to cinema, and most of them must have gone to videos, cheap and nasty.
Yeah, probably TV movies or something like that. Yeah.
You know, straight to video. Because that's what they do with some franchises, don't they?
Yeah, I think they must have done that. They must have done that. I can't see that going on for all those films like that. I don't remember it. I just remember that 1, 2, and 3. I think Halloween 4 was relatively big. And then I heard about the one they mentioned, the one in about 2000, H823, whatever it was. And then the one in 2018. But then there's been another one this year, another next year. I don't know.
I think they blow him up in that. I think Jay blows him up at the end of it. I mean, this guy must. If he's he's a mutant then.
They're also saying that this is a direct sequel to the original Halloween, which tells me that there's a discontinuity.
30 odd years later.
Yeah, but so that's just it's a discontinuity with these other ones because something happens to him in those other ones. I don't know. I don't know. I think there's
this is the problem with today. Sometimes, I like sequels. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, some franchises just milk it.
They do milk it off. I mean,
until there's nothing. I mean, until there's even like. When they get to the end of it and there's nothing you can do, suddenly, let's put him in space on Halloween,
like
on
Leprechaun,
the planet
Mars. And even is it one of the Fast and the Furious are going to space or something as well? They're all doing it.
Well, that's rumours, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I gave up with Fast and Furious.
I've never seen it. I've got the first one. I've not watched it yet. I'm going to try it.
We're at superhero stage where they're all racing across the ice. And they're being chased by an atomic submarine. Don't even ask. Don't ask.
Well, at least they haven't done that in Halloween yet.
Driving off a cliff and an aeroplane picks the car up. I just don't get me started on this.
So I think really,
why can't
limited?
Why can't they just make I understand with Star Wars franchise. You can at least one thing you can tell. You can change.
Star Wars is so much richer though. Star Wars has got so much more to offer because it's
Star
such a big
Trek,
universe.
Even Marvel have all numerous sequels.
Yeah, Marvel can as well.
Movies.
Yeah, I can see all those working.
Absolutely. You can make unlimited franchises work. You can't if you do it properly. I mean, it's like Predator, the new one.
I mean, really. I mean, when you watch Alien is it's a sci-fi horror thrasher franchise. It's a very similar thing, except instead of about Mike Myers, it's an alien xenomorph who goes around killing people.
Yeah, but they stole that up though.
That's what I'm saying. There is a limitation to what in the Star Wars and Star Trek franchise.
You keep going with it.
There's so many different places you can go, and it slots in, and they can make something. Yeah. This is why you can't do that with Mike Myers.
You say like if you're a Mike Myers fanatic, obviously you sell the action figures and all stuff, all the goes with it. There will be people that say, look, he's got history and there's a universe there. But if you think about it, it's only about 30 years of history, really. I mean, it's just this dude turns up every Halloween and just ends up slaughtering everybody and then gets blown up at the end of it.
I mean, I'm looking at a bit more of the Wikipedia, and it says, because it has a retrospective of the film, and it says, years after its debut, Halloween is considered by many as one of the best films of 1978. On the review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes, Halloween holds a 96% approval rating based on 72 critic reviews with an average rating of 8.63. The census reads, scary, suspenseful, and viscerally thrilling. Halloween sets the standards for modern horror films on Metacritic. The film is weighted. Yeah,
but that's the first one, isn't it? It's not the rest of it.
I mean, the first one was all right. I like it. But I mean, I watched Psycho.
I do. I'm not knocking for, it's before Jason and all that, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But I still think it's got a bit of a limited kind of dynamic. I don't.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, I've seen a couple of Friday 13s, and I gave up when I saw Hellraiser on a space station. And the space station blow up and change into a puzzle box. And I saw I saw another one where Jason got done on a tube line.
Right, as you do.
Something happened. He got because I think he gets his powers from Crystal Lake. Or something mystical there. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really a horror fan. I'm very select. I'm very select on horror.
One film I want to watch. I want to do this. If we're still doing the show next year, which hopefully we are, and I've mentioned to you before, it is a horror film. It's a sci-fi horror film, and it is absolutely fantastic. And it's called The Mist. And I'm a huge fan. I think what I can safely say is this is the last of the Halloween franchise we will be doing on the show. I think it's great to get your opinion of it because it's one of those things. But
I do like some horror movies, but I'm a big fan of Fright Night, you see.
Oh, the original Fright Night is great, yeah.
I'd like to cover Fright Night 1, 2,
and
the remake. I'd really like to cover.
I've seen the original. I haven't seen the other ones. I've only seen the first.
You want to see the sequel? The sequel is very good.
All right. No, if you recommend it, I'll try it.
There's a real sad story behind it because it never got released at many cinemas, and it just disappeared. And it all makes sense. The sequel is a beautiful movie. It goes with the first one, and it's just as funny. But it's his sister who comes back for revenge. And the remake with Colin Farrell actually is not too bad. It's just a shame. David Tennant was so underused in it.
Oh, was he in that? I didn't know he was in that.
He should have been the star of the film. Because his personality outshines Colin
David Tennant seems to do great in whatever he does. I'm a huge fan of David Tennant. I think he's fantastic.
But Halloween, I don't know, mate. I mean, this has been a difficult one, I admit.
Yeah, I really appreciate your input.
On it. I am going to read up on it, but I didn't know it. You've blown me away what you've just told me. 11 movies. I thought there were about 5.
That's what it says.
11.
I mean, I don't know. I'm amazed because I really can't see it doing. I think it could have lasted the first 2, and then Season of the Witch, the different story.
Yeah.
And then to me, that really should have been it, or done a sequel to Season of the Witch with the masks.
The original concept of Halloween was that he was going to release a weird movie like a Twilight Zone series in a universe
around Halloween. Yeah, I heard about that.
In a universe called, it's like the Halloween universe, and every year
that's right.
Get one
it's
going to
be a different Halloween story. Yes, I heard about that.
Scary movies, and
but because Halloween 3 tanked, but Halloween tanked, and that's why they went back to the original Mike Myers. That's where it went wrong because they tried that with episode 3, and it was great. But for some reason, it just didn't sort of catch on, and that's why they went back to Mike Myers. He's come back from the dead or whatever they done. I don't know. So I think that's a really good review. I think it's really interesting your perspective, and I'm glad we checked it out. But yeah, so future horror sort of films are Fright Night and The Mist.
Yep, definitely.
So this time next year, we will not be doing any more Halloween films for Halloween because I don't think there's not much else to say about it really. No. It is good for what it was. I still think the original is an entertaining movie, but there's no way
definitely.
It should.
I'm not
11 movies.
The first one. I'm not knocking it.
No, I know. Not 11 movies.
It freaked me out
crazy.
when I saw it, and that music.
The music
is spectacular.
But 11 movies that's too much. Martin, thank you very much on that, and I really appreciate your input. Let's go into, I haven't got much, but solo on Sci-Fi News. Here we go.
Right then.
Solar Sci-Fi News.
Let's go to the news. So this week, more information about the new Doctor Who, which is starting from our perspective in about 2 or 3 or 4 days. Second episode is going to feature the Sontarans in some sort of battles or something like that. It's all looking okay. Again, I'm not building up my hopes. Star Trek, the new animated series is starting very soon. Have you heard much about that? I'm not going to be checking it out myself. Are you going to be watching anything today?
They've released 2
Parody?
pictures, and I saw the 2 pictures.
Yeah, is there something you just going to sort of see what happens and not particularly invest your time checking that out? Or?
I'll check it out. I'm not that bothered about it.
Yeah, I know.
How are you feeling about it?
I think I might do what you've done in the past, where when there's quite a few episodes which are released, watch them in bulk and just see what it's like. I'm not going to be rushing to see it like on the day it's released and you know, sort of like, because it's aimed for a younger audience for one thing. I'm not a big fan of animated series that much anyway, which I've said many times before. You know, we've already got Lower Decks, which is Star Trek Simpsons or Futurama. But then in 2 weeks' time, we've got the new Discovery Season 4. So that will be something I'm going to be following. So that'll be good. So anything your end? Because I've not got much at all.
Well, I'm going to watch Doctor Who. Looking for. Well, I know I keep making jokes, but I'm going to watch it. I saw a clip with Joey Bishop.
Oh yeah, I saw that clip when he's like Halloween.
With the Halloween.
Yeah, I saw
the Halloween thing again. Yeah.
God, but it is a Halloween show, so it is typical.
Yes. No, I'm open to it. So we'll see on Sunday, won't we? Like I said, you like me. Until you've seen it, you know.
But
it could be good.
But I have to say this now. I mean, in most shows now, I always have a bit more skepticism before it starts. The only shows where I really do build up my excitement, and I'm pretty successful, is the Star Wars TV show. So if it's like The Mandalorian, Boba Fett, I don't care. I'm going to be sat there. I'm going to really get into it, and hopefully it'll be good. That's about it. Nothing much else.
There's a Star Trek docu-series, The Centre Seats, are premiere in November, set for 10 episodes.
Oh, okay. So who's involved with that? Do you know much about it?
The History Channel is set to premiere the new 10-part documentary series, The Centre Seat, 55 Years of Star Trek, on November the 5th.
Right.
Directed by Brian Volkowitz and produced by the Nacelle Company and narrated by Gates McFadden.
Oh,
the series will run the first 4 episodes on History Channel.
Okay.
According to History, each episode will focus on a different chapter in the 55-year-old franchise.
Wow. Okay.
And all the actors are in it talking about it. So.
But I'm still looking forward to the documentary of Voyager, which made, was it £2 million or dollars they made?
Yeah, I can't. When's it out? Do you know when that's coming?
No idea. I assume that they're starting to work on it now, but I mean, if it's anything like the DS9 one, then count me in. That's the one I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, that should be good.
And David Tennant's got a new series coming.
Oh, is it? What's he involved in now?
David Tennant's Around the World in 80 Days set release date.
Yeah, I've never seen
based
any
on
versions
that
of
dude
that.
that travels around, though. It's a Jules Verne story, so.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of those shows before, but I mean, I've never seen the world of, Around the World in 80 Days. I don't know. I mean, I know of the story, but I've never seen any version.
Well,
of it.
he's playing. I saw the film with Steve Coogan years ago.
I heard about that.
I think David Niven did one back in the 60s.
I think that might know. Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was David Niven. Yeah, I'm looking. As it says, nothing else planned. Yeah, go on.
That's it. That's all I've got this week.
Yeah, I just got a few topics about Doctor Who Flats, which we've already talked about. Still waiting to get the first trailer for The Mandalorian. We should be getting more information on the new Ghostbusters film soon, which is not far away. I'm not going to go and see it at the cinema, which we already talked about, but I will be checking out once it's released online. Pretty much that's about it. So, Martin, happy Halloween for next week or when next Sunday.
And you, my friend, happy Halloween.
Yeah, it's funny. This is our second Halloween show, which is quite cool. Next week, like I said, we're going to talk about the first episode of Doctor Who and also the 13th Doctor in general, because I think that I want to sort of get your feedback about the whole Chris Chibnall era.
Yes.
And of course, by this time next week, we'll at least have the first episode to give us an indication of
we should do a Doctor Who special at the end of the series. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, we could do that. We could certainly do that. I mean, I could even go on.
Is it Black Hole next week then?
No, next week is the Doctor Who 13th Doctor special. We're going to do that just generally for that. Then the week after, it's Black Hole. Then maybe the week after that, I might do a Ghostbusters if you're up for that, because we've never done Ghostbusters.
I'm up for Ghostbusters. That sounds
good. That's a classic film. We've got to review that. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to end this week. Then I found this funny parody song of Halloween. I don't know what it's all about, but it's something to play in the background. So Martin, thank you very much. We will catch you next week on the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast. Thank you very much.
Live long and prosper.
Halloween night 1963 in Haddonfield, Illinois, there would be a gruesome case of sibling rivalry between kids in the Myers family when Michael, a 6-year-old, leisurely walked into his sister's room silently and butchered her body so violently he left for a mental facility. And when the state hospital deputy relaxed the maximum security, then Michael would stop waiting patiently for another chance at a murder spree. His doctor, Sam Loomis, tried legally to put him away for eternity. Said my patient has no humanity, but others did not exactly agree. They said Michael was the epitome of the ideal patient's activity. No crying, no talking, no moving. He would just sit and stare absent-mindedly. Yet 15 years later he wandered free by breaking out from his captivity. Now all he had left to do was to flee back to his old peaceful community, where his house was sold by Strode Realty, whose daughter became inevitably the subject of all his hostility. A true Michael Myers authority, who has the uncanny proclivity to suffer no serious injury, while friends who are in her vicinity without fail become a casualty. They fall victim to his insanity. They're strangled and mangled creatively. They're grabbed and then stabbed hard repeatedly. They're decapitated so easily you'd think he'd get bored from monotony. He kills each one individually, employing equal opportunity. It's quality versus more quantity. He'd relive a childhood memory to the best of his own ability, but there would not be much difficulty, since he seems to have no mortality or reason or conscience, entirely devoid of any personality. His sense of life and death and good and evil seemed extremely rudimentary. The boogeyman's responsibility is to maintain the notoriety of death as an impossibility, or fade slowly into obscurity. But you are one miracle prodigy. You've given this killer the third degree. You vanquished the evil amazingly, ignored all your bothersome OCD to check up on his heart accordingly. So while he is lying there lifelessly, while you are still breathing so heavily, you sit there and thank God that finally it's over, it's done with. And luckily you planned each potential contingency. You blinded his eyes temporarily. You drove that knife through his chest cavity. You shot him in every extremity. You forced him right off of the balcony. There's no way in hell that he'd possibly get up and walk right off your property. That stuff only happens on the TV, so you'll be safe in police custody. They'll quickly make a positive ID of Michael's cold twisted anatomy. You'll garner the neighborhood sympathy, and after a good deal of therapy you'll be back in touch with reality and understand why philosophically the apple does not fall far from the tree when creating our own worst enemy.